Split squat, dumbbells. The dumbbell split squat is a unilateral lower body exercise that builds strength and mobility in the ankles, knees, and hips. Split squats have also been shown to decrease the chance of lower body injury. Performing a perfect split squat with both feet on the floor is a progression from the front foot elevated split squat. Having the feet on the floor requires greater hip mobility, and hence you should start with the front foot elevated and slowly lower the elevation until you can perform split squats on the floor with perfect form. What are the requirements for a perfect split squat? The front knee is pushed over the toes. The front foot remains flat on the floor. The front knee is fully flexed so that the hamstring is covering the front calf. The torso is fairly upright. The back knee softly touches the floor, but no weight is rested into the knee. The hips are square. The rear hip is internally rotated. This means the heel of the rear foot is slightly turned out and both the knuckle of the pinky toe and big toe are pushing into the floor. The heel of the rear foot never touches the floor. The rear leg is as straight as possible. There will always be a slight bend in the rear leg, but the aim is to push the rear heel away from the body and lengthen the rear leg to increase the stretch on the anterior hip. Grip a dumbbell in each hand. I like to hold the dumbbell with a supinated grip, palms facing forward, as this allows me to retract the shoulders, keep the chest up, and maintain a more upright posture. The feet will be hip width apart. Imagine you are standing on tram tracks and not on a tightrope. In a lunge stance, place the ball of the back foot on the floor. It is critical that the heel of the back foot never touches the floor and both the knuckle of the big toe and pinky toe are pushing into the floor. The heel of the rear foot should be slightly turned out, and this will internally rotate the rear hip and help to increase the stretch on the hip flexors during the split squat. Think about tucking the pelvis under the torso. Contract the glute of the rear leg and keep it active for the entire set. The aim is to keep the torso as upright as possible in the split squat. Leaning forward in the split squat will lessen the stretch on the hip flexors, which is not what we want. The movement of the split squat is both forward and down. Think about using the front hamstring to pull yourself into the split squat. The front knee moves over the toes and the front hamstring covers as much of the calf as possible. We are trying to close the angle between the calf and hamstring as much as possible without the heel of the front foot lifting off the floor. Make sure the front knee does not collapse inwards as you move down and up in the split squat. Keep the knee tracking over the toes. As you move down and forward, you want the weight to move more towards the ball of the front foot while keeping the heel on the floor. This range of motion will be dictated by ankle and hip mobility. The aim is to keep the back leg as straight as possible while moving the knee as close to the floor as you can. How straight can you keep the rear leg will depend on the flexibility in your hips. You will also want to keep the hips square. Do not allow the body to rotate. At the bottom of the split squat, you should feel a strong stretch in the front hip of the rear leg. Focus on pushing the rear heel away from the glute and lengthening the rear leg as much as possible. Use the breath to help stabilize the movement. As you move down and forward, breathe in through the nose and deep into the belly by pushing the belly outwards to stabilize the trunk. Hold your breath at the bottom of the split squat and then slowly breathe out through the mouth as you stand back up. Perform the prescribed number of reps on each leg at the specified tempo.